In this video, we're going to be talking about 10 things that fans do not want to see in Grand Theft Auto 6. So a topic on this was created back in March, and there was a handful of very interesting responses on what players don't want to see happen in Grand Theft Auto 6. And we're going to be going over some of the top ones right now. And as always with a video like this, it's best to hear from you in those comments down below. Get the discussion going. Chime in. What would you take away from this list? What would you add? And what would be your own? All right, so at the number one spot, online exclusive content. We started seeing this a lot in GTA 5 when Grand Theft Auto Online took off. Online got all the updates and single player seemingly got left in the dust. Now, some people could explain this for a handful of reasons, like, for example, Rockstar didn't expect Grand Theft Auto Online to be the mega success that it is, and so they had to scrap single-player DLCs and turn that into multiplayer content. So you could say that Rockstar may have learned their lesson going forward with GTA 6. And I have nothing against multiplayer content, but I just think that all that content should be added in single-player too. So I don't want all the new cars, all the new weapons, the clothing to be stuck for our multiplayer characters. Add that stuff in single-player. There's a lot of people that enjoy just playing single-player, and there's no problem with that. Number two is forced diversity of environments. So in Grand Theft Auto 5, each biome was incredibly small, and it felt like Rockstar was trying to pack too many things into one small of an area. Like, for example, the forest, the desert. They all seem A, so close to each other, and B, very, very packed together where you have all this space lost to about 4 or 5 different mountain ranges. So we know that the map is supposed to be bigger in Grand Theft Auto 6, so it'll be interesting to see if Rockstar creates different areas, dense and industrial cities, swamp areas with spooky mysteries and interesting animal encounters, normal suburban areas, and even tropical territories like in the Keys or even some islands. It'll be really cool if Rockstar does that, but hopefully they don't just sort of force all these biomes into one cluster of a map, because in my opinion, it did not work all that well with GTA 5. Number three, this is an interesting one. The main character's clothing changing when you switch to them. So we saw this a lot as Michael, Trevor, and Franklin, and I can understand why, because sometimes when you would switch to a character, Trevor might be in his underwear, Michael might be in the pool, so obviously they're going to have different outfits, but there would be some times where your character would just be wearing a different set of clothing, and you're like, I didn't do that, so when I was playing as Michael, did Trevor just go off and change his clothes? And we know, of course, thanks to the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks, that we're going to be able to play as Jason and Lucia, so there will be some sort of character switching. It'll be interesting to see how Rockstar does that. Number four is movement restrictions, and what I mean by that are some examples like this. Not being able to run or do certain things because you're in an interior. We actually saw Rockstar recently sort of change a lot of that in GTA Online. Like, for example, you now have the ability to walk normally and sprint in the Diamond Casino and Resort. And also our characters being very clumsy on things like hills. They sort of have to do this like run, skip, hop up any surface that's a little bit steep. It just doesn't look realistic at all. I'm not saying GTA 6 has to go for perfect realism in any way, shape, or form, but it would be nice if some of the ridiculous movements were ironed out. Number five is bad missions, and the only way I know how to explain this is with a couple of examples. Like, for example, if you have to drive and follow someone for like 15 minutes, or in order to go from point A to point B, it's halfway across the map. Why make it unnecessarily long unless you're trying to get a narrative in, like dialogue, or this is for the sake of doing some sort of tutorial, like the very first mission in GTA 5. Told you about the driving and Franklin's ability, so on and so on. Too many times I just feel like there's bad missions that don't really have any Easter eggs or story to them where you're like, man, this has got to be the worst thing of all time. I just wish I could skip it. They're few and far between, but I wish Rockstar would completely eliminate them in GTA 6. Now moving on, at the number 6 spot, don't lose the humor, Rockstar. So what I mean by that is it's 2023 and there seems to be this sort of cancel culture online where if you do one thing wrong or you say one joke that might be out of place, you're canceled forever. You can't do anything going forward. I don't want Rockstar to lose their sense of humor, the jokes they tell, the things they do, the people they make fun of. I don't want that to go away just because we are seemingly in a different place in the world. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. Long story short, I don't want Rockstar to lose the creative freedom that they've had over the last couple of years and that has made their storytelling so great. That's kind of all I'll say on that front. Number 7, bad car diversity. So have you ever noticed when you go to different areas of the GTA map, you're going to see like 5 different types of cars. If you're in a rich district, you'll see like a Comet or you'll see an Infernus. Whereas if you're in a bad part of town, you might see like beat up pickup trucks or something like that. But that's all you see is those vehicles. There needs to be more variety. And honestly, I would tone down the rarity on some of the supercars. Now, I get it. I've been to Beverly Hills and Rodeo Drive, which is one of the wealthiest parts of Los Angeles, and you can just sit on the side of the road and see supercar after sports car after supercar go by. But other than that, it isn't really realistic to see all that many. So better car diversity would be nice. I guess the opposite of that is Rockstar. I hope you don't just have like the same 8 vehicles in the spawn rotation that we see over and over again. Number 8 is having all weapons purchasable. Now, this one might be a little bit controversial, but if you think about it, I don't want this ammunition store where you can just buy, a grenade launcher and a rocket launcher. And I know, again, GTA 6 is not supposed to be realistic, but there should be different stores for different things. If you want some melee weapons like a chainsaw or even knives or even hammers, maybe a hardware store. Regular guns, you find it in ammunition. But if you want to get the things like the RPG and you want to get things like a grenade launcher, maybe you have to break in to a military store or you have to break into an air base or something like that. I think that would make it a little bit more rewarding to have those better and more powerful weapons. And speaking of those better and powerful weapons, at the number 9 spot, don't have unrealistic vehicles. I guess for online that works, but I don't want to be going around Vice City and you see Oppressor Mark IIs and you see these crazy futuristic tanks. To me, that just didn't feel real. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for fun cars, vehicles, and weapons, but I think they need to be few and far between. Think like the jetpack with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or like the flamethrower in Vice City. I think stuff like that is really fun. It just doesn't need to be like 50% of the things you see flying around or other players using. And last but not least, at the number 10 spot, don't have impossible cops. At least the ones in GTA 5. Not only do they spawn out of nowhere, they are very hard to avoid. They are almost like deadly accurate. There needs to be more realism with them. And from what we've seen so far in the GTA 6 leaks, not only are there new features to the police, but they're definitely more realistic as well, have a lot more functions, and even ways that we can interact with them as Jason and Lucia. So that will be really, really fun to see. But that right there is 10 things that fans do not want in Grand Theft Auto 6. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, let me know in those comments down below, do you think anything we mentioned in this video today should be kicked from the game, or do you think they should stay? Let me know what your list is as well. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go and enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Rockstar Games videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.